Tonight, I would like to give the Dhamma explaining about the Panya. Right? The other day we already finished. Saddha. Second, Viriya. Right? Today we will talk about Panya.
Pada malam hari ini, Yang Mulia Sayadaw akan memberikan ceramah tentang Panya. Beberapa hari yang lalu, Sayadaw telah selesai membahas tentang Saddha, kemudian Wirya. Dan hari ini, Sayadaw akan melanjutkan membahas tentang Panya.
Panya, when we translate into English, knowledge, wisdom. Right? Panya, knowledge, wisdom. Right? Knowledge, wisdom. So there are Lokiya knowledge or Lokodara knowledge. Right? Lokiya wisdom, Lokodara wisdom. Right? So there are many people in Lokiya, right? They are doing the business. Right? Some people, they have their good knowledge, good wisdom. That's why. So they can success, they can be success their business. Right? But some people, they do not success, right? Because they don't have their good wisdom, good knowledge. Right? In the same way, the Lokodara, right? So Lokodara also with the knowledge, wisdom. Right? We are looking for the Lokodara Dhamma. Right? So when we are looking for the Lokodara Dhamma, also we need to have the knowledge, wisdom. Right? When you have the knowledge, wisdom, then your practice meditation can be success. Right? That's why in Pali we call, when someone who has the knowledge, we call Tihetuka. Right? Tihetuka, they have the enough knowledge to understand the Dhamma. Right? Dvihetuka, in Pali, Dvihetuka means that they do not have the enough knowledge to understand the Dhamma. Right? To understand the Dhamma. So mean that in Lokodara wisdom different from the Lokiya, right? In the Lokiya, some people they are very successful for their business, maybe billionaire, right? So they are very rich, but when they are looking for the Lokodara Dhamma, even though they have the very good knowledge for the business, but some people they do not have the good knowledge. Right? Some people they do not have the good knowledge for the Dhamma, right? So the Lokodara Dhamma is the different from the Lokiya Dhamma, right? Even though some people they are not educated, right? They are not educated in the university. They don't have any degree from the university. They don't have the master degree. They don't have the engineering degree. They don't have the doctorate degree. Right? They don't have any degree from the university. Even some people they do not know how to read, how to write. But when they hear the Dhamma, they can understand right way, right? They can understand right way. So in the Buddhism, right, doesn't matter you are male or female, or how old are you, right? You are old age or young age, doesn't matter. As long as you are healthy, you make effort, you have the saddha, then you have the knowledge, then even you are at old age, or even the younger, about 7 years old. So 7 years old, youngest one, right? Then you are even there, older than 70, 80, right? Still, you still have the chance to realize the Dhamma, right? Because you have the enough quality for the Dhamma.
Panya diterjemahkan sebagai pengetahuan atau kebijaksanaan. Panya ini ada Lokiya Panya dan Lokutara Panya. Banyak orang Lokiya menjalankan usahanya. Beberapa di antara mereka memiliki pengetahuan atau kebijaksanaan yang memadai sehingga mereka bisa sangat berhasil di dalam usahanya. Tetapi ada beberapa yang tidak berhasil karena mereka tidak cukup memiliki pengetahuan atau kebijaksanaan. Di dalam Lokutara juga ada pengetahuan dan kebijaksanaan. Kita di sini mencari Lokutara Dhamma. Kita memerlukan pengetahuan dan kebijaksanaan, sehingga praktek meditasi kita bisa mengalami keberhasilan. Bagi orang yang memiliki cukup pengetahuan Dhamma disebut dengan Tihetuka, maka ia akan bisa memahami Dhamma. Sedangkan mereka yang dengan Dwihetuka atau kurang pengetahuan dan kebijaksanaannya lebih sulit untuk memahami Dhamma. Pengetahuan Lokutara dan pengetahuan Lokia adalah berbeda. Seseorang yang mencapai keberhasilan secara Lokia berhasil menjadi jutawan, kaya raya. Tetapi ketika ia mencari Dhamma Lokutara, ia tidak memiliki cukup pengetahuan untuk memahami Dhamma. Sekali lagi, Lokutara berbeda dengan Lokia. Ada orang yang tidak terpelajar, tidak memiliki gelar. Apakah itu master, engineer, dokter, sama sekali tidak mempunyai gelar, dan bahkan tidak tahu bagaimana cara membaca atau menulis, tetapi begitu ia mendengarkan Dhamma, ia bisa langsung memahami Dhamma itu. Di dalam agama Buddha, tidak menjadi persoalan apakah Anda seorang pria atau wanita, Anda berusia lanjut atau masih sangat muda. Selama Anda sehat, Anda mengerahkan usaha, dan Anda memiliki keyakinan, serta Anda memiliki pengetahuan, meskipun Anda sudah tua ataupun sangat muda, misalnya 7 tahun, dan Anda sudah berusia lebih dari 70 ataupun 80 tahun, Anda masih bisa memahami Dhamma, karena Anda memiliki cukup kualitas untuk memahami Dhamma itu.
So the knowledge, wisdom also, according to the Buddha teaching, right, we need to have the parami, right? Parami, perfection. From the past, we fulfill, right? Fulfill parami, right? Dana parami, sila parami, nikama parami, right? Pinya parami, right? Viriya parami, adhaitana parami, upekha parami, tissa parami, right? Metta parami, right? So Desa Parami, Metta Parami, right? So Adhaitana Parami, right? Upekha Parami, right? We fulfill the Parami from the past, right? So when you fulfill Parami, right? Then in this life, you already have enough parami, that's why. So for the Dhamma, right? Other people are very hard to stop, right? For Dhamma, even though someone born in the not Buddhist country, right, because of the parami, so when they began there, at the age 20, 30, right, they are start interested in meditation, right? So the Buddha Dhamma, they ordain as bhikkhu and nun, right? And they practice, right? Then they understand the Dhamma, right? That's why the parami, right? Someone who has the parami, right? So no one can stop, right? When the time comes, yeah, they want to ordain as a bhikkhu, samanera and nun, right? They want to practice, they want to see the Dhamma, right? So when they practice also, they can understand the Dhamma easily. They can understand, right? They can understand the Dhamma easily, right? Yes, in the Pali text, right? Even though you have the the different parami, right? So in Bali text we are saying Okade Nyuda, Vipte Nyuda, right? Neya Brahma, Okade Nyuda, Pogala, Vipte Nyuda, Pogala, Neya Pogala, Brahma. Okade Nyuda, right? When the Buddha gave the Dhamma talk, in brief, they can understand right away, right? Within a few minutes, they can understand the Dhamma right away without any delay. Okade Nyuda. Vipite Nyuda is when the Buddha gave the Dhamma talk, explain a little bit more, right? Maybe about 1 hour, more than 1 hour, explaining, and they can understand the Dhamma, right? Neya is that someone, so abroad they listen to the Dhamma talk, and they have to practice, maybe few hours, a few days. Someone who have to practice a few hours, a few days, or maybe a few months, a few years, more years, we call Neya, right? Neya means that someone who listen to the Dhamma, then they have to practice, right? Neya. Brahma is that they cannot understand the Dhamma, right? When they listen to the Dhamma talk, when the meditation teacher explains, they cannot understand the Dhamma. This is called Neya, right? The Brahma, right? So that's why, so depend on our parami, right? Some understand very fast, right? Very fast, because of that, they are parami, right? They fulfill parami for many years, right? Some not very fast, right? They listen to the Dhamma talk, understand, right? Some they have to practice a few hours, a few days, a few months, a few years, and Neya. So finally they can understand, right? That's why we don't know what kind of person you are, right? You are Neya or you are Okade Nyuda, Vipite Nyuda, we don't know, right? So at least we have to make a lot of effort, right? We have to make a lot of effort. Then when you have the effort, even though your knowledge may be slow, right? Even though your knowledge is slow, but finally because of your effort, or gradually you are improving, right? So that's why when you start practicing meditation, or some people they already give it, oh, they are all very difficult, right? Very difficult. I cannot do it. It is too difficult for me. So difficult, then they don't want to practice anymore, right? Actually, so when you go to practice meditation, we don't really know, right? What kind of person you are. So we have to try, right? When you see the difficulty, try, because in the Pali text, right, some they practice for many years, 20 years, 30 years, right? So sometimes the whole their life, right? The whole their life. So the same that you have the viriya, you have the knowledge, even though your knowledge is not so sharp, right? So you have the still understanding, right? Understanding. So I stay in the meditation center, right? So some people, they are very determined for the Dhamma, you know? They want to practice. They want to practice, right? So one of the foreign monk, right, came to Baniyarama. He have to change meditation teacher, he said so many times. Right? So many times he had to change, right? Because this year go to other place, then another year can interview. This year one back to other place, another year. So practicing for many years, although he have to change a lot of teacher, right? Because of his determination, even though he have to change the teacher, he's still willing to practice. Right? Now, even now, he is now become the famous meditation teacher now, right? So this also show, right, San Yogi, when they come, or San Yogi, they do not have the parami, they complain food, they complain about the food, weather, or the teacher, environment, so on, right? So many things, or the teacher not qualified, or this place, they're not not really good place for me, not sabaya, right? So some people they have a feeling those like this, right? So they say they're not good place for me. The teacher is not really the good teacher for me. The weather, food, right? So actually, when you decided to practice a meditation, you know, the teacher, of course the teacher is supporting you, the environment is supporting you, are the most important person, right? Your understanding, right? Your understanding, right? So, when you go to meditation center, you should not make a lot of judgment. You should not have a lot of questions, right? So when you have the question, this question with the reasonable question, right? You have the question with the reasonable question. Okay, this question make your meditation can improve, right? But when you have the question, but without the reasonable, you have to just confuse more, right? Questioning, doubt, don't trust, and so on, right? Sometimes the San Yogi asked the meditation, about the meditation, right? So sometimes they should not ask, but they still want to ask, right? So one of the student asked me, Sayadaw, how do you know the Buddha teachings, the authentic teachings? How do we call that there are over 2,500 years, right? So how do you know this is Theravada? Right? You said Theravada is the authentic teaching of the Buddha. How do you know this is the authentic teaching of the Buddha, right? So this one also not easy to explain, right? Unless you understand, right? Because of the Buddha teaching, right? The whole, the 45 years, right? So Ananda was there, all the recorded, right? So Danda Abhidhamma, the Ubali, Vinaya, right? So they all do the Sanghayana, right? They decided all together, right? Then they learn by heart, right? So year to year, right? They teach to their student, right? They teach their student for many years. Later, when they improve, then they write on the bump, on the stone, right? Then later, so when we improve, then we print it in the book, right? So the Pali scholar who study Pali scholar, they know this is the Buddha teaching, or this is the someone made mistake, right? When they trying to do, like in Myanmar Sattha Sanghayana, right? Sattha Sanghayana, they decided they actually edited it, right? Because of the San era, because publication, right? So many times published. So the some of the book of the San era, then they edited, right? Very Pali scholar like Mahasi Sayadaw, other very Mahasi Sayadaw was there, final edit, right? When the Mahasi Sayadaw approved, means that no need to edit again, right? So Mahasi Sayadaw, when he also teach the Dhamma, he always point out, oh, this is there, this is there, this is some of the word is there, not really necessary here. This word is something. So something still not correct, right? Something. So the Buddha teaching, because the Buddha is there, Savinyutta, right? Savinyutta Jnana. So his teachings are so amazing, right? Very profound. Even when you read the Pali text, right, the Buddha teaching and Sariputta teaching, or Shema Moggallana teaching, Ananda teaching, right? Mahakessayana teaching, right? Some of the disciples also give the Dhamma talk, right? Like the Dhamma Dena, right? So on. So Buddha teaching and their disciple teaching are so different. Buddha teaching, when you read, as soon as you read, very profound, right? Very powerful, very profound, very complete. So that's why we should not have any doubt, right? But some people, they have the doubt, how do you know? This is the authentic teaching of the Buddha, you know. Some people, they have the doubt without a good reason, also very hard to explain, right? Or some yogi said, right? I don't believe Athagata. I don't believe Athagata. If they study Athagata, don't believe in me, okay, I can accept. They don't study Athagata Pali, they just hear something and they say, I don't believe Athagata. I don't believe Athagata. So very hard to explain, right? So those kind of yogis are, they have their sun knowledge, but they don't have their good knowledge to understand Buddha teaching for practice, right? For practice, right? So, nowadays, I practice in the Siddha Nupassana, right? Actually, the Buddha teaching is the four foundation of mindfulness, right? Yes, in the Pali text explaining, when you start practice meditation, you have to observe your body first, repeatedly. Then when you observe your body repeatedly, then when your concentration mindfulness improve, you will see your mind, you feeling Dhamma object automatically. Right? So then you have to observe the four foundation of mindfulness. When you observe the four foundation of mindfulness, you will see seven factors of enlightenment. When you observe seven factors of enlightenment, you will see the Nibbana. Right? Even the Pali text explaining, when you start practice meditation, you have to observe your body like that when you make the sesame oil, right? Cooking oil, sesame. In the past, no electric machine, right? They have to use it there, the gong, right? They put there, in the wood. So in the wood hole, right? And they use the gong, they have to use the sesame bush, right? Put for many time, maybe about 2 hours, right? Finally, the sesame cooking oil came out, right? They put again, pushing, right? Finally, they get the very pure sesame cooking oil, right? So, in the same way, Thagata is explaining, you have to observe your body repeatedly. Finally, when your concentration mindfulness improves, you will see your mind in more and more detail, right? Automatically. Even though Pali Thagata is explaining very clearly, but some people, they still believe something they should not believe. Observing Siddha Nupassana, right? Observing Siddha Nupassana means if you observe just Siddha Nupassana, not enough. Or probably you start observing Siddha Nupassana, okay. Right? You start observing the Siddha Nupassana, okay. Sanyogi, right? They start observing the Siddha Nupassana when they feel sad, when they feel angry, they start observing the mind, okay, right? But when they really improve, they have to see definitely the four foundation of mindfulness, right? Kaya, Vedana, Siddha, Dhamma, observing Kaya. Because that the mind and body is that even though we call mind and body, but they have to work together, When you see your mind, you have to see your body action. When you see your body action, you have to see your mind, those actions. They just observing the mind, they do very quickly, correct, right? So when you really see the mind, you have to see your action, right? So for example, the Sanyogi, they say, I'm observing the mind, they are not mindful when they are eating the lunch, breakfast, right? So mean that when you observe the yogi, you see very clearly, they say, I'm observing the mind, right? They say, I am practicing samatha meditation, upasana. Then when they are not mindful during the eating, not really. The four foundation mindfulness. The four foundation mindfulness means you have to be mindful when you are eating for lunch, breakfast, take shower, when you walk to the dining hall, Dhamma hall, sitting down, getting up, stretching them, bending them, opening them, close the eyes. When you are looking, sitting down, getting up, when you are talking, when you are using the toilet, when you are carrying the bowl, right? When you are standing, going, right? So when you are standing, going, sitting down, right? When you are looking, every moment where do we mindful? This is called mindfulness practice, right? Even though the Pali is explaining, but some people, they would like to confused. Or because some people, although they trying to confused, then they go together, right? Mindfulness means, where do we mindful every moment? Someone not mindful, right? Someone not mindful, yes, sometimes they are not mindful, right? So in my center, one of the bhikkhu, right? He want to do the one of the monastery to do the Dhudenga, right? They go to the cemetery at night. They go to the cemetery at night to do the Dhudenga practice, right? Some bhikkhu, they go to the cemetery at 6 p.m., right? Some bhikkhu go to the cemetery 8 p.m., 10 p.m. They stay the cemetery the whole night. Morning they come back, right? So I know, because I'm Myanmar, I know the every situation about the Myanmar, right? So the monk, he came back from the Dhudenga, he told me many things, right? I'm listening. Right? Then listening, then I do, mostly Dhudenga monk are not really mindful, because the mindfulness, that they have to really establish mindfulness. Then Dhudenga practice doesn't mean they are mindful. Dhudenga practice, even though they have the strong determination, go to Dhudenga, but they're not quite mindful. I haven't seen many monks, Dhudenga monks, not mindful. Right? Of course, they have the strong determination. They would like to care sila. They keep their sila very well. Right? They practice the Dhudenga. Right? So when I say that, then they might say, is it true? Because when I went to the Armstrong with the Seattle, I have to follow him because he go very fast. He walk very fast. Even I have to follow, I'm very tired, right? Seattle said, true, that he is very fast, not mindful, right? So, that's why you have to understand the practice, right? The Dhudenga practice, right? Or some, they care sila, what is real mindfulness. If you do not have that core knowledge, even some famous meditation teachers, right? If they are not mindful, so you can make judgment, right? In Myanmar, one of the theology teaching, the Samatha meditation, the Vipassana, very famous, right? But his eyes, secondary eye, very poor. When he get the Dhamma talk, he look at here and there, he look at here and there. Or, some people, they thought, very famous meditation teacher, a lot of disciples. If they see a lot of disciples, famous meditation teacher, they test. It's not true. Even though famous, they have a lot of disciples, you still need to observe, right? What is real mindfulness? Sometimes also when he talk about something, also a lot of akusala, he talk about a lot of akusala, criticizing others, right? Other method, or even sometimes he call, right? When you practice this way, you are not go to Nibbana, you are go to hell, right? So this kind of saying something, you can think about his mind. So meditation teacher usually very calm, very peaceful. They will not say those kind of harsh words. Someone say harsh word, practice meditation, you are not go to Nibbana, you are go to hell. Although his entity also not very nice, right? So, if you do not have the core knowledge, you can believe very blindly. Then, so in this life, so it is very difficult to see the Nibbana, right? Very difficult to be free from the samsara, right? Because some of the meditation teacher teach you, without samatha meditation, it is impossible to realize the Four Noble Truths. This is the no Pali text, right? This is the no Pali text mention. They mention, right? If you believe blindly those kind of teaching, then they will be samsara. They will not be free from the samsara. They will be more samsara if they don't have the good knowledge, good understanding, panya, right?
Selain pengetahuan atau kebijaksanaan, juga diperlukan parami yang telah dipenuhi di masa yang lalu. Ada dana parami, kemudian sila, nekama, panya, wirya, aditana, upeka, saca, meta. Kita harus memenuhi atau memiliki parami ini dari masa yang lalu, yang sudah kita lakukan. Di dalam hidup ini, jika kita memiliki cukup parami, maka akan lebih mudah untuk memahami Dhamma, dan orang lain akan sulit untuk menghentikan praktek kita. Bahkan orang yang bukan dari negara Buddhis, pada saat berusia 20 atau 30 tahun, mereka mulai ada ketertarikan di dalam meditasi. Lalu mereka ditabiskan sebagai biku atau sebagai nan. Kemudian mereka mempraktekkan meditasi untuk memahami Dhamma. Orang yang memiliki cukup parami, tidak ada seorang pun yang mampu untuk menghentikan mereka untuk menjadi seorang biku ataupun seorang nan. Mereka praktek untuk bisa melihat Dhamma. Mereka praktek untuk memahami Dhamma. Dan praktek mereka ini bisa dilakukan dengan mudah. Di dalam kitab Pali dikatakan, meskipun kita memiliki parami yang berbeda, kita tetap bisa memahami Dhamma. Misalnya ketika Buddha memberikan ceramah, ada yang ceramah ringkas, orang tersebut langsung memahami Dhamma tersebut tanpa ada penundaan. Ini adalah kelompok yang pertama. Kemudian kelompok yang kedua adalah ketika Buddha memberikan ceramah dan beliau perlu memberikan penjelasan lebih, misalnya 1 jam, barulah pendengarnya bisa memahami Dhamma. Setelah mendengarkan Dhamma tersebut, mereka juga harus melakukan praktek untuk beberapa jam, misalnya beberapa hari ataupun beberapa bulan. Kemudian setelah mendengarkan Dhamma, harus mempraktekkan. Ini adalah kelompok yang selanjutnya. Tetapi ada pula kelompok yang tidak bisa memahami Dhamma. Walaupun telah mendengarkan ceramah dan guru telah memberikan penjelasan, tetap saja tidak bisa memahami Dhamma itu. Semua ini bergantung dari parami yang dimiliki oleh masing-masing orang. Beberapa orang ada yang bisa memahaminya dengan cepat, karena mereka sudah memenuhi parami mereka. Beberapa tidak begitu cepat untuk memahami Dhamma yang didengarnya, tetapi mereka bisa memahami. Ada beberapa yang setelah mendengarkan memerlukan praktek beberapa waktu, tetapi ada pula yang sama sekali tidak bisa memahami. Kita tidak mengetahui kita ini termasuk di kelompok yang mana. Tetapi apabila kita mengerahkan usaha yang gigih, jika kita mempunyai usaha yang gigih ini, meskipun pengetahuan kita rendah, tetapi karena usaha kita yang gigih ini, kita akan bisa mencapai kemajuan. Karena itu, pada saat Anda memulai praktek meditasi Anda, janganlah mengatakan bahwa Anda tidak mampu. Ada yang yogi yang mengatakan kepada Sayadaw bahwa praktek meditasi ini sangatlah sulit dan ia tidak bisa melakukannya. Kemudian ia sama sekali tidak mau mempraktekkan. Anda semua pada saat pergi untuk praktek, kita harus tahu bahwa kita tidak tahu kita ini dari kelompok yang mana. Yang terpenting adalah kita harus berusaha. Di dalam kitab bahasa Pali dikatakan, ada yang bahkan harus praktek untuk 10 tahun, 20 tahun, atau bahkan di sepanjang hidupnya. Selama memiliki usaha yang gigih, memiliki wirya, walaupun pengetahuannya tidak cukup tajam, tetapi dia punya kemauan, dia akan tetap bisa mengetahuinya. Beberapa ada yang memiliki keputusan yang sangat mantap untuk praktek. Sayadaw menceritakan tentang salah seorang biku asing yang praktek di Panditarama. ia harus kerap kali berganti guru meditasi. Karena di sana seorang guru meditasi mungkin setelah sekian waktu harus kembali ke tempatnya, kemudian berganti dengan guru meditasi yang lain. Dan ia, biku asing ini harus diinterview oleh guru yang berganti-ganti selama bertahun-tahun. Tetapi karena keputusannya yang mantap, meskipun berganti guru yang interview, ia tetap tekun mempraktekkan meditasinya. Sekarang beliau telah menjadi seorang guru meditasi yang terkenal. Bagi yogi yang tidak memiliki cukup parami, selalu berkeluh kesah, selalu mengeluhkan misalnya tentang makanannya, cuacanya, menganggap gurunya tidak memiliki kualitas, kemudian juga mengeluhkan tentang tempat dan yang lainnya. Beberapa memang ada yang seperti itu. Ada yang mengatakan bahwa tempatnya tidak baik, gurunya tidak memenuhi syarat, makanannya tidak memadai, cuacanya tidak mendukung. Kalau Anda mau mempraktekkan meditasi, tentu guru itu mendukung Anda, juga tempat akan mendukung Anda. Yang dipentingkan adalah pemahaman Anda. Kemudian Anda juga jangan membuat penilaian, juga jangan bertanya-tanya terhadap apa yang tidak akan membawa kemajuan bagi praktek meditasi Anda. Kalau Anda perlu bertanya, bertanyalah tentang hal yang bisa memajukan praktek meditasi Anda. Ini masih masuk akal. Kalau pertanyaan Anda ini justru akan menimbulkan banyak kebingungan, banyak keraguan, tidak perlu dipertanyakan. Kadang-kadang yogi itu bertanya yang sebetulnya gurunya tidak menanyakan. Sayadaw menceritakan, ada yogi yang bertanya kepada Sayadaw, bagaimana Sayadaw mengetahui bahwa ini adalah asli ajaran Buddha? Padahal ini sudah lebih dari 2.600 tahun yang lalu. Anda mengatakan bahwa Theravada ini adalah ajaran Buddha yang asli. Bagaimana Sayadaw mengetahuinya? Memang ini tidak mudah untuk dijelaskan. Karena Buddha mengajarkan ajaran selama 45 tahun. Kemudian yang Arya Bhante Ananda yang menyimpannya. Beliau mengingat semua Sutanta dan Abhidhamma. Kemudian yang Arya Bhante Upali mengingat semua Winaya. Dan ini diungkapkan pada saat ada Sanggayana. Mereka kemudian menghafalkannya selama bertahun-tahun, lalu mengajarkan kepada murid-murid beliau. Ketika keadaan sudah lebih maju, ajaran Buddha ini mulai dituliskan di atas lontar, kemudian dipahatkan di atas batu. Pada saat kita lebih maju lagi, kemudian dicetak di dalam buku. Mereka yang mempelajari Pali tahu ini adalah betul-betul ajaran Buddha. Seperti Sanggayana yang pernah diadakan di Myanmar. Di sana itu pada saat Sanggayana itu mereka mengadakan editing terhadap ajaran Buddha yang telah diterbitkan untuk berkali-kali. Di sana pada waktu Sanggayana di Myanmar ini berkumpul banyak sekali para Sayadaw yang terpelajar. Dan yang Arya Mahasi Sayadaw ini bertindak sebagai editor final. Jadi ketika Mahasi Sayadaw mengajarkan Dhamma, beliau mengetahui mana kata-kata yang tepat, mana yang tidak penting dan mana yang salah. Buddha adalah seorang Sabanyuta, seorang yang maha tahu. Ajaran beliau adalah sangat mendalam. Ajaran yang diberikan oleh Buddha itu berbeda dengan ajaran yang disampaikan oleh Yang Arya Bhante Sariputta, Yang Arya Bhante Moggallana, Yang Arya Bhante Ananda, ataupun oleh Yang Arya Ayya Dhammadina. Ajaran Buddha dan ajaran para murid beliau itu sungguh berbeda. Ajaran Buddha adalah sangat mendalam dan sangat mulia, sangat lengkap. Ada orang yang kemudian meragukan, manakah yang ajaran Buddha? Ada yang keraguan-raguannya ini adalah tanpa alasan. Ada seorang yogi yang mengatakan kepada Sayadaw bahwa ia tidak mempercayai kata-kata. Sayadaw merasa heran. Ia hanya mengatakan saja, tidak mempercayai kata-kata. Dan yogi itu sama sekali tidak mempelajari kata-kata. Yogi seperti itu hanya memiliki sedikit pengetahuan saja. Tidak tahu pengetahuan untuk mempraktekkan meditasi. Sekarang banyak yang mengatakan misalnya hanya akan mempraktekkan citta nupassana saja. Padahal Buddha mengajarkan 4 landasan perhatian murni. Di dalam kitab bahasa Pali dikatakan bahwa pertama-tama kita harus mengamati pada tubuh atau jasmani ini secara berulang-ulang untuk membina konsentrasi dan perhatian murni. Ketika konsentrasi dan perhatian murni ini telah berkembang dan maju, dengan sendirinya Anda akan melihat pikiran, perasaan, ataupun objek dhamma secara otomatis. Anda akan mengamati 4 landasan perhatian murni ini. Dengan pengamatan itu, Anda akan melihat 7 faktor pencerahan. Kemudian Anda melakukan pengamatan terhadap 7 faktor pencerahan ini, lalu Anda bisa melihat nibbana. Di dalam kitab bahasa Pali disebutkan bahwa pertama-tama Anda harus melakukan pengamatan terhadap kaya atau tubuh ini. Seperti pada zaman dahulu, ketika belum ada listrik. Pada saat seseorang mau membuat minyak wijen untuk memasak, pertama kali ia harus membuat perapian, kemudian harus menekannya sampai kemudian terbentuk minyak untuk dijadikan minyak wijen yang bisa digunakan untuk memasak. Pada saat Anda melakukan pengamatan terhadap tubuh ini secara berulang-ulang, ini disebutkan di dalam kata-kata. Mereka tidak mempercayainya. Mereka mengatakan mereka hanya melakukan pengamatan terhadap citta nupassana saja. Hanya melakukan pengamatan terhadap citta ini tidaklah mencukupi. Mungkin pada awalnya ia melakukan pengamatan terhadap citta karena ia mungkin merasa bersedih ataupun marah. Lalu ia melakukan pengamatan terhadap batin atau pikirannya. Pada saat seseorang maju, maka ia pasti akan melihat 4 landasan perhatian murni ini. Kaya, wedana, citta, dan dhamma. Dari kaya, kita ini memiliki nama dan rupa yang selalu bekerja bersama. Kita bisa melihat tindakan, aksi jasmani kita. Kita juga bisa melihat aksi dari pikiran kita. Ketika Anda melihat aksi dari pikiran, Anda juga akan melihat aksi dari jasmani Anda. Mereka yang mengatakan selalu melakukan pengamatan terhadap pikirannya, tetapi ketika makan sama sekali tidak memiliki perhatian murni. Mereka mengatakan bahwa mereka mempraktekkan samatha atau vipassana, tetapi ketika makan sama sekali tidak memiliki perhatian murni. Ini betul-betul tidak sejati mempraktekkan 4 landasan perhatian murni. Ketika Anda benar-benar praktek, pada saat Anda makan, mandi, kemudian pergi ke satu tempat, duduk, kemudian akan berdiri, menekuk tangan, meluruskan, meregangkan tangan, mengambil bowl, kemudian berdiri, pergi ke satu tempat, melihat, selalu dengan berperhatian murni. Anda selalu mempraktekkan perhatian murni ini. Sesungguhnya kitab bahasa Pali telah menjelaskan dengan jernih, dengan jelas. Tetapi mereka membuat dirinya sendiri menjadi bingung. Ketika orang mengatakan memiliki perhatian murni, maka artinya perhatian murni ini harus dimiliki di setiap saat. Kadang-kadang orang tidak menerapkan perhatian murni ini. Di Center Sayadaw menceritakan ada biku yang kemudian pergi dari wihara untuk praktek dutangga. Di malam hari mereka pergi ke area pekuburan. Mereka pergi ke sana ada yang dari jam 6 petang, ada yang jam 8 atau jam 10 malam. Mereka kemudian tinggal di area pekuburan di sepanjang malam. Baru keesokan paginya mereka kembali ke wihara. Setelah kembali ke wihara, mereka yang mempraktekkan dutangga itu kemudian menceritakan banyak pengalamannya kepada Sayadaw. Waktu itu Sayadaw hanya mendengar saja. Mereka yang praktek dutangga itu sesungguhnya tidak bisa benar-benar mempraktekkan perhatian murni. Memang mereka memiliki tekad yang kuat untuk menjaga silanya dengan sangat ketat. Mereka mempraktekkan dutangga. Tetapi ketika mereka pergi untuk menerima dana makan, mereka pergi berpindah patah, mereka pergi dengan sangat cepat. Sayadaw menceritakan, ketika Sayadaw harus mengikuti, Sayadaw harus berjalan sangat cepat, sehingga sampai terasa kelelahan. Bagi mereka yang mempraktekkan dutangga, memang agak sulit untuk memahami betul-betul apakah perhatian murni ini. Ada guru meditasi yang tidak memiliki perhatian murni yang baik. Anda bisa menilai hal itu. Ada seorang Sayadawji yang mempraktekkan samatha. Kemudian berceramah. Ketika beliau berceramah, mata beliau melihat ke sana kemari. Padahal beliau ini adalah seorang yang sudah sangat terkenal dan memiliki banyak murid. Sesungguhnya Anda harus tetap selalu melakukan pengamatan terhadap apa yang disebut dengan perhatian murni ini. Ketika seseorang memiliki perhatian murni, maka ia tidak akan berbicara banyak, tidak akan berbicara aku salah, tidak akan mengkritik, tidak akan menyebutkan bahwa jika mempraktekkan meditasi ini tidak akan pergi ke nibbana. Sebagai seorang guru meditasi, seharusnya ia itu tenang, kemudian penuh kedamaian, tidak berkata-kata kasar. Dan dia tidak akan mengatakan bahwa jika mempraktekkan meditasi ini akan sampai ke neraka. Mereka yang tidak mempunyai pengetahuan yang memadai akan mempercayai kata-kata semacam itu. Mereka akan mempercayai secara membuta. Memang di kehidupan ini sulit untuk melihat nibbana. Sulit untuk bisa membebaskan diri dari sangsara. Ada yang mengatakan bahwa kalau tidak mempraktekkan samatha, maka tidak akan bisa melihat jalan mulia beruas 8. Orang yang tidak memiliki pengetahuan justru akan lebih mempertebal pengembaraannya di dalam sangsara.
So the pinya, about the pinya, right? The knowledge, knowledge, understanding, how to practice, right? So when you have the knowledge, understanding, right? Every day, so your meditation will be always more clear, easier, right? Easier. Finally, because of the knowledge, then you can realize the nibbana, right? You can realize the nibbana. You can get the Maghabala nibbana experience. That's why, and to have the knowledge, to understand is very important for your meditation. Improve to see the Dhamma. Right? That's all for tonight's Dhamma talk.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Itulah tentang panya atau pengetahuan. Anda harus memiliki pengetahuan yang baik. Anda harus mengetahui bagaimana seharusnya mempraktekkan meditasi. Dengan pengetahuan yang baik ini, di setiap hari praktek meditasi Anda akan menjadi lebih mudah dan lebih jernih. Dengan pengetahuan yang baik ini, Anda akan bisa memahami nibbana. Anda akan bisa mendapatkan pengalaman magga, pala, dan nibbana. Dengan pengetahuan yang baik ini, praktek meditasi Anda akan maju. Anda akan bisa mencapai nibbana. Sayadaw mengakhiri ceramah beliau untuk malam hari ini sampai di sini. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.